Joe Biden's victory is expected to bring a dramatic shift in America's diplomatic landscape. All set to take his presidential oath on the 20th of January next year, Biden promises a world friendlier to America's allies. But will this drastic change alter America's place in world affairs? Let's break it down for you. Well, when the US officially withdrew from the Paris Accord, Biden tweeted that officially in 77 days the US will rejoin it. That is one of the election promises that he made. And now the time has come. Under Biden, the United States will have its most progressive climate change policy yet. Biden has already laid out a $2 trillion clean energy and infrastructure plan and a commitment to rejoin the very controversial Paris Agreement and a goal of net zero emissions by the year 2050. And it aims to achieve a power sector that is free of carbon pollution by the year 2035 in a country with the largest reserves of coal on the planet. The WHO chief, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, congratulated Biden on his victory. The tweet hinted at a joint effort with the US as a leader in fighting the ongoing pandemic. Throughout his campaign, Donald Trump repeatedly warned that a victory for Joe Biden would be a win for China and that Beijing would own America. And despite this rhetoric, there are no indications suggesting that Washington will go easy on Beijing under the Biden administration. Biden says that he will continue Trump's tough line on trade, the theft of intellectual property, as well as coercive trade practices by co-opting with allies. Just like China, Washington's ties with the Kremlin will not see any major change. Biden has pledged to extend the life of the last US-Russia Strategic Nuclear Arms Control Treaty. It will, in fact, end all restraints on deployments of strategic nuclear warheads and bombers and missiles that carry them, potentially fueling a new arms race. The US-Iran ties, on the other hand, witnessed their lowest point under the Trump regime. Donald Trump withdrew from the Iran nuclear treaty and imposed strict sanctions crippling Iran's economy. Meanwhile, Joe Biden promises an attempt to breathe a new life into the nuclear pact. Biden promises Tehran a way out of these sanctions if it complies with the multinational nuclear deal. The deal was signed when Biden served as a vice president under Barack Obama. On Sunday, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani called on Biden to compensate for their country's past mistake and re-enter the nuclear deal. Now, throughout his presidency, Donald Trump was at loggerheads with the NATO. Trump denounced the NATO as being obsolete, threatening the US's withdrawal from the organization, in fact. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg congratulated Biden on his victory. He said, and I quote, "I know Mr. Biden as a strong supporter of NATO and the transatlantic relationship." Now, one of Biden's primary goals will be to rebuild the confidence for the US amid the NATO members by vowing to act against Russia's increasing aggression in the region. Among the complications that Biden will have to face is the relationship with US allies across West Asia. The UAE-Saudi Arabia relationship and Israel, in the meanwhile, might not be too delighted with Biden's victory. This was in a way made evident by Saudi Arabia's delayed wishes to Biden on his victory. Saudi Arabia's King Salman said, and I quote, "We hail the distinguished, historic and close relations between the two friendly countries and their people, which everyone looks to strengthen and develop at all levels." Donald Trump turned a blind eye towards incidents of domestic human rights violations in West Asia. However, Biden is expected to take note of the worsening situation in the Middle East. Biden is unlikely to reverse the wave of normalization agreements between Israel and some Arab nations that Trump achieved in recent months. And now let's put the focus on India. Now, much before he became vice president, Biden was a strong advocate for stronger strategic ties with India. And the focus will be India and the US's joint action towards China's growing dominance and aggression in the East. Remember, the common enemy here for India and the United States for now is China. During the cross-border tensions between China and India, Donald Trump actively supported and advocated for India. New Delhi expects its old friend, as they say, to maintain the same stand. Meanwhile, Biden's foreign policies seem clear, but will the US actually abide by it is the big question. After all, a Republican majority Senate does not indicate the same. The road ahead will be tough for Biden.